So thank you very much for the invitation for sharing for a few minutes with you something about the upcoming Assembly of the World Council of Churches. In a day like this, I would like to start perhaps by underlining or recalling that the modern ecumenical movement was born out of the horror for war, and in a special way for wars in which baptized Christians kill baptized Christians. And so we have to keep that memory in front of us as we move towards the future. I would like to make a couple of notes in relation to the Assembly using these minutes that you have made available to us with gratitude for that. We are moving towards an assembly opening on 31st August that is not only one single event, it's in fact a constellation of events. We are preparing for pre-assemblies for indigenous people, for people with disabilities, a third one on gender issues, and a fourth one for youth. We are also organizing at the same time a global ecumenical institute, theological institute, for 100 theological students. The Assembly will include in its program 100 different workshops that will be proposed during the Assembly, and 23 ecumenical conversations in which several topics of the contemporary concern for Christian unity and the unity of humanity will be addressed. So this is the event that is ahead of us. We hope that under normal circumstances, some 3,500 people, 4,000 people will participate in different ways in that event in Karlsruhe at the end of August, beginning of September. Jürgen has launched a reflection on the theme of the Assembly. I would like simply to pursue a bit that reflection by dedicating my third note to the theme. Christ's love moves the world to reconciliation and unity, a Christocentric but not exclusivist, a Christocentric missional theme, a theme centered on Christ, as it has been a tradition in earlier assemblies, but at the same time a missional theme, because this affirmation, this statement of hope, is also an invitation to bear witness. We published last year a booklet with a commentary, a pastoral commentary on the theme of the Assembly. I can share the link with you. I think, I hope that within a few minutes. And that text offers a reflection on the context of the Assembly, first of all, with a special reference to the pandemic, and from there, and the European context, from there, it reflects on the first part of the theme, Christ's love. This is a biblical, theological reflection on the way in which the reference to Christ's love is approached. And I think that's very important in this reference. Thanks to Mark for sharing the text. Very important in this reference is the notion of Christ's compassion. So the notion of compassion is meant to play a central role in the interpretation of the theme, and the significance of that has become even more important after the pandemic, because the notion of compassion is not a paternalistic notion of pity. It's a very important notion related to solidarity when your guts are touched by the suffering of the other, especially the most vulnerable. So this is the core of the pastoral theological reflection on the first part of the theme. The second part of the theme paper that I'm referring to is, of course, turns to the world that Christ's love is moving. And here we introduce the discussion by listing some mega trends that are perhaps shaping the lives of people around the world in the now and in the coming years that need to be seriously taken into account if we want to bear a relevant witness in today's world. We make a reference to the Anthropocene as a situation that we are entering. We make a reference to the continuous inequalities generated by the neoliberal hegemony in today's economy. We make a reference to the multifaceted challenges of the digital revolution. We make a reference to the loss of hope in the notion of progress as interrelated with a loss of hope in the future. And also to the decline of multilateralism, internationalism, and the crisis of democracy. Those are some of the challenges that when they interact are shaping today's world, and we hope that the preparations for the assembly will take that fully into account, and the life of the assembly will be an engagement with those issues out of our statement of faith and hope on Christ's love. This text closes with a call to an ecumenism of the heart. This is not a new, nobody's reinventing ecumenism or the search for Christian unity. This is underlining the fact that when perhaps the goals are not as clear as in the past, it's very important that we join forces, our energies, by looking at each other with more kindness, and in order to remain in the pilgrim work towards Christian unity. So this is a quick note about the assembly. It was my note number 3. In continuity and in coherence with the focus on compassion as the hermeneutical key to Christ's love, Jesus' compassion as the hermeneutical key to Christ's love, we are opening every single day with a meditation on Jesus of Nazareth's compassion, of course. So the polysemic narratives about Jesus' compassion will be the beginning, the spiritual opening of each day. For instance, the second day of the assembly, as Matthew has mentioned in the chat a couple of minutes ago, will be the European, will include the European plenary. And the biblical text for that today is the passage of the Good Samaritan. So you may start now your preparation for that second day of the assembly. From the morning devotions, we'll move to plenaries, and we hope that the personal meditation on Jesus' compassion will help us to address the global challenges to the mission and unity of the churches that will be in the center of different plenaries that will take place as the second element of the day. And from the morning devotions and the plenaries, we will gather in home groups that will allow for more sharing, interpersonal sharing, intercontextual sharing, and personal appropriation of the theme and the way in which the theme is being addressed in that specific day. So work in home groups during the morning. I'll not continue to describe a day in the life of the assembly because we don't have much time. So I want just to encourage you to be interested in the assembly by offering you a description of a morning in the assembly. I hope that with that theme, with those challenges, and as we face them today, that this assembly will be a time to encourage a kind of counter-cultural ecumenism, because many of the values that are behind the search for Christian unity have become extremely countercultural in today's world. And this assembly is an opportunity to remobilize our ecumenical dreams and energies for that. Thank you very much.